Hey guys, in this month's Disney Rewind, we're going to be talking about Moon Knight. So before we head into our thoughts and feelings on Moon Knight, we are most likely definitely going to be talking about some spoilers in this video. So if you're not caught up with this show, come back at a later point. So, Stephanie, how did you feel about Moon Knight?
I was pleasantly surprised. I wasn't really looking forward to it, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just like, oh, Oscar Isaac. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. And I think mainly because I didn't know it had anything to do with a bunch of Egyptian stuff.
Egyptian mythology and whatnot. Yeah, I had no idea it had anything to do with that. Yeah.
I didn't know that was the thing of this show, so I think that helped me like it more. But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, my only interest in the show first was like Oscar Isaac. I was like, oh, I like Oscar Isaac, I'll watch his show. And then, yeah, the second thing being it's a Marvel property. It's really the only reason I watched this show. I kind of didn't know what the show was even about or anything. I had never even heard of this character before in the comics. I had no idea who this dude was. So, yeah, really the only reason I was watching this, Oscar Isaac, and because it's a Marvel property. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised too. I ended up enjoying it. It's not perfect, it's definitely not perfect. I think there are some pacing issues kind of in there, especially in those early episodes. But for the most part, it's still entertaining and fun. And I think on the plus side, it connects to nothing else in the MCU.
Yeah.
You can watch this show if you've never seen.
That's the biggest plus.
Yeah, if you have never seen anything else in the MCU, I think you can hop into this show easily with no problem. I don't think you're going to be confused. There's just nothing, which is kind of great and kind of refreshing. You know, you don't have to have all this backstory and lore.
And there's not even like a guest appearance from somebody, even if they're not trying to tie anything together. There's still not even a guest appearance.
I kind of kept waiting for that. I kept waiting for some big cameo from some random person because it seems like every single one of these shows has been doing that, forcing you to be caught up with whatever the given thing is. You know, especially like Hawkeye, with Florence Pugh being in there and popping up. We hadn't watched Black Widow yet. We were like, oh, we need to watch Black Widow, you know? So
before next week.
Yeah, we were like, we gotta watch Black Widow before the next episode of Hawkeye. So yeah, the good thing with this show, I mean, I think you can go straight through it easily, no problems. I don't think you're going to be confused about anything. If you're confused about anything,
it's just the story.
It's just the nature of the story and the nature of the plot. It's not going to have anything to do with the greater, larger MCU. So that's good. That's definitely a bonus.
I think, too, no aliens. And no magic. I know there was, like, this a different type of, like, you know, it's gods. It's a different type of thing.
It's mythology. It's related to mythology.
Mythology magic. It's not Doctor Strange magic or something. You know what I mean? It's a completely different type of magic. And there's no aliens. It's...
Yeah. There's something about the show that's...
It's mythological,
there's
but
something...
not.
Yeah, this may sound strange. There's something about the show that's more grounded. I guess if that makes sense. Yeah, because you're not dealing with space aliens or... like you said, Doctor Strange with kind of weird magic. You know, it's very much more grounded and rooted and based in just straight out Egyptian mythology, which is really nice. It makes it easier to follow, I think. And yeah, once again, it has nothing to do with anything else in the MCU in regards to that, in regards to magic or multiverses, you know? Or yeah, aliens. Yeah, I like the show. I mean, before we get into other little things, I mean, is there anything you had an issue with the show? Let's kind of get maybe some negatives out of the way. Is there anything you had an issue with? Like I said, I had kind of an issue with some of the pacing initially, because I think those first three especially were a little kind of slow and meandering as it was kind of trying to find its footing and kind of get where it needed to get, because I really kind of got into it that last half once more of the plot kind of fell in, and you know what Khonshu's up to, what Amit's up to, and how Mark and Layla kind of fit into all that, you know, and Arthur Harrow and whatnot.
I think at first when they were in like the psych ward or whatever, that threw me off for a moment because I was like, wait, because then I was like, great, now we're getting into weird stuff that never makes sense.
I was worried too. Oh my god, I was worried.
I was like,
yeah.
this is the part where it starts getting stupid.
Yeah.
And so for like 10-15 minutes of that stuff, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe it wasn't that long, but like it was probably like the
Yeah.
first 10 minutes, and I was like, but then it
That ended up
came
being,
together, and that was like the best
yeah,
episode.
the psych ward episode. Yeah, that was easily.
Well, because it went to it the last episode before
Yeah.
it, and when it started, and as soon as that popped up, I was like, because then when the next
Yeah.
episode showed up, I was like, great.
Yeah, the psych ward episode is easily the best episode of this show, and it is strictly like character focused. And I love character focused episodes like that, where you really dig into the psyche of a character and why they've done the things that they've done, or why they are the way they are. It's easily the best episode. And the thing is, that was the episode that I was the most concerned about.
Yeah, but it turned out to be the best.
Yeah, it ended up being the best episode because, yeah, especially because the previous episode ended with the big reveal, like, oh, they're in a psych ward. It's like, oh my god, what's that? Because I've seen Legion. If anyone watched Legion on FX, I was like, oh god, I can't do this again. Because Legion, even though I liked Legion, Legion was just a little too much, a little too deep. A little too deep and metaphorical for me. I didn't understand what the hell was going on half the time on Legion, so I was like, oh no, Moon Knight has just gone into Legion territory and it's lost me. Fortunately, that's not the case. But yeah, any other issues?
No, not really.
Just kind of really the pacing, I guess. Really, I guess, yeah, the pacing for me is really kind of just it. As far as performances, let's talk about Oscar Isaac, of course. Did you have concerns about Oscar Isaac?
I did, because like
From the trailer.
We've
Because let's put it out
only-
there, the trailer, we were a little concerned.
because also he like had a British accent. I was
Yeah.
like, what is happening? And like to me, it's like you think you've heard him in other roles, and he has that same voice, and then to all of a sudden he's got a British accent and a very particular British accent,
yeah.
and it's like, hold on, it's like how we joke about when you hear somebody sing for the first time that you never heard sing before,
You're always
and you're
worried.
thrown off,
Yeah.
but then you're like, oh, it's fine. So like the first episode threw me off, but then like the second episode came around and I didn't really think about it much.
Yeah, when the trailers came out, because they mostly showed Oscar Isaac as Steven. They didn't really show him as Mark, did they? It's Mark. They mostly just showed him as Steven with that accent, and I had my concerns because I was like, oh no, the trailers were not doing any justice, because
Yeah, I was
like, this is
already-
bad. I was like, this is bad.
I was already like, this show looks weird, and then all of a sudden he's got a British accent on top of that, and I'm like, what is happening?
The thing is, the accent grew on me. I ended up loving it. Steven is probably my favorite character.
Yeah.
Which is good. I'm glad the show
He's just as
ended.
confused half the time.
Yeah, I'm really glad by the time the show ended. I loved Steven, and the accent, I was fine with the accent. It
Yeah.
worked. It came together.
Yeah.
I think that's it. It came together, whereas
it
in the
worked.
trailer, it's not working in the trailer.
And it worked with Mark's voice.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, they balanced having the two different pitches of a voice, like, balanced each other, because you had the tough mop and voice, and then you had the more like kind of higher pitched voice. So I don't know. There's just they matched their character,
I just
matched
really
their character and
liked-
it balanced them out.
I just really liked Mark and Steven, just the whole dichotomy there, because you have Mark, who is more masculine, I think. More masculine and really rough and gruff and
Not afraid.
yeah, not afraid. And then you got Steven over there, who's like a little bit more feminine, I think.
A little whiny.
A little whiny. But like he really comes into his own by the end. Because I think he has probably the greater arc, maybe, kind of getting out of his shyness and timidness. Because then he starts kicking ass there at the end too. But yeah, I liked Oscar Isaac's performance, because at first I was not sure if it was going to work.
And then is it weird to say they had a good bond with each other?
Oh my
but
God.
they're the same person.
I know there's Layla. Layla's in there too, and she's the love interest, obviously. Because we got a weird love triangle. It's weird. It's a love triangle, you guys. Somehow, even though it's the same guy. But yeah, I think the greatest relationship is Mark and Steven. It's the same guy. It's the same guy. And I forgot that. I forgot that. That's what's so great about, I think, Oscar Isaac's performance is that you kind of forget it's one guy, you know?
You really think there's two of them, like they're twins.
There were many times, especially in the Psych Ward episode, that his performance was done so well. I completely forgot that it was just Oscar Isaac in general, just doing one person, you know? And I think that's a good thing, because there's sometimes people will do twins or triplets or whatever.
And you know this.
And there's something about it that's noticeable and it doesn't work. Because another good example would be like Tatiana Maslany from Orphan Black. She would play 5, 6, 7 characters. Sometimes all those characters would be on one screen together. And I always forgot, oh, it's just one actress. It's just Tatiana Maslany doing all that, you know? So, just like Tatiana Maslany, I think Oscar Isaac, it worked perfectly the same with him, that I kept thinking it was different people.
And then, too, I think he did a good job of switching between accents, because I think there was that part, unless the cutting of the film was done and we didn't know this, but...
No, I think that was all him.
There was, like, you know, certain scenes where he would switch between accents, without there being a cut. And they'd go between back and forth, and
almost like kind of like Gollum and Schmeagol. And then you'd kind of like Gollum and Schmeagol, like how Andy Serkis would.
And then like you kind of get confused because you're like they'd be really quick with switching between each other, and you're like, wait, who's who? Wait, what's
But still so good though. Just the way he was able to flip. You know, like it's like he understood each character perfectly, that he was able to make those switches, you know, seamlessly and flawlessly, which was great. And while we're on Oscar Isaac, because there is the reveal of a third, because he has multiple personality disorder, which they don't really go into too terribly much until the Psych Ward episode, but when they do go into it, it's great. But yeah, there is the introduction of a third personality, Jake. How'd you feel about Jake? Farm? Not Jake from State Farm.
Well, he's only in there a minute. So
but
he's
he
like,
made an impression,
he's
though.
like
He made an impression.
Tough guy, like almost like a mafia, or you know, kind of assassin kind of person.
The way I saw Mark, he is the absolute most evil version that could be there. Jake, what'd I say?
Mark.
Oh, what Jake? Yeah, I think he is the most absolute, most evil that he can go down to. You know. In his most purest form, I feel like, because even though there's a darkness with Mark still was able to have... He has a
balance. He's the balanced one.
Yeah, Mark was still able to have sympathy and empathy, you know? Whereas Jake, you kind of get the idea Jake is just a straight up murder and assassin. That whenever... Because another big thing, too, you have Khonshu, and you get that reveal that Khonshu... He is kind of using Stephen and Mark, you know? He is straight up using Stephen and Mark because of the multiple personality disorder, and that he has, as he says, a weak mind. You know? He is completely used that to his advantage. Yeah, he's very Khonshu is very manipulative. And yeah, whenever Khonshu can't get Mark or Stephen to do what he wants, that's when Jake, I guess, is supposedly kind of coming out there. Because Jake is doing what Khonshu really needs done.
So is it supposed to be that Jake's been popping out this whole time, but they didn't let us know?
They didn't. Well, because
especially those times when he would black out and there would be just dead people, like that big long chase with the
well, I still
truck.
think that was Mark. I still think that was supposed to be Mark. But like that other...
because they were in peril from like people.
Yeah, but I think as it was getting closer to the end of the show, when he was blacking out, that was supposed to be Jake. Because then, remember, there was that point, Mark was like, Steven, was that you? And Steven's like, no, was it you? And Mark's like, no. You know? That's when they started kind of getting into the thing, oh, there's a third guy there somewhere. Plus, I mean, even in the Psych Ward episode, there's that sarcophagus that's shaking, remember? I think that's supposed to be Jake.
Like he's locked.
Yeah, he's locked and trapped.
They haven't unlocked that character.
I love the Moon Knight costume. Badass costume. I love the costume.
Oh, see, that confused me too, because then there's also the other outfit.
The Mr. Knight outfit?
And I was like, wait, but they only showed the one outfit in the trailer. And I was like so confused. And I was like, is he in the suit?
I loved both costumes though, because they both fit their personalities. You know, the Moon Knight being badass.
What's
and
Jake's
everything.
gonna look like?
Yeah, I'm curious what Jake's kind of looks like. Might be all black. Could be all black.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Mr. Knight, just so whimsical, going with kind of Steven's personality, you know. How'd you feel about Layla? I liked Layla.
I liked it.
I wish there was more of her. I hate that the show was only 6 episodes because I feel like there was a lot of stuff that could have been gone into more, you know? And it's gone through so quickly. The plot of this is rapid, pretty much.
Yeah.
You're kind of thrown into a lot of stuff, including the relationship with Layla and her backstory and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you get that big reveal that Mark killed her dad. You know, oh. I did like Layla, though. She was great.
But I don't know if Hippo Lady was trying to tell her something there near the end, that she had said something about she had seen her father. But she was like, what? But she didn't continue because that was when, like, there was a lot of stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
And she said something about she saw him in the Duat.
Oh, so did she? I think I totally missed that.
Like how Mark and Steven were traveling through stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know if maybe he might end up being alive. I don't know if that's
like if they do another season, her dad
I
might
don't know
pop up somewhere.
I don't know if that's what they were trying to go with that because they cut it off so quickly.
Yeah,
And it's like she forgot because all that chaos was happening.
I think I totally missed. If the Hippo Lady said something about her dad, I totally missed it.
It was I believe when she had entered her body.
With that back and forth when Layla and the Hippo Lady were kind of when she was like moving around all over the place in the hallway.
I'm pretty sure it was during that scene where
I think there was a lot going on during that scene.
And Layla was like, "What?" And then it went back to the Hippo and she'd said something, so they kind of like dropped it all of a sudden.
And you know, speaking of, because we talked about Moon Knight's outfit, I loved her costume at the end. I loved her costume reveal at the end. That was badass. I think the best female costume out of all the MCU ladies. I loved it.
But like I said, it's weird because I thought hers seemed more like a bird, like she took the avatar of one of the other gods because she had the wings. Like when she would put up her arms, it looked like.
But she was being possessed by the Hippo Lady. So the wings were confusing me. It was very reminiscent of like Falcon, I think. Her whole design.
It was like Falcon meets
Egyptian
Wonder Woman.
It was like Falcon meets Egyptian mythology, pretty much. I love that whole look and design. Her swords and everything, because they were kind of part of the wings. Mm-hmm. That was cool.
Which one was she in love with? Because I kept like losing track, going back and forth between.
What, Layla?
Yeah.
Her and Mark were married. But they were having a bit of a falling out there. Because remember, she was pissed off and like, you've not called me, this and that. Yeah. And then remember, because then he switched into Steven and she thought he was.
Oh, because she's like, what's with the stupid accent?
Yeah, she's like, what's with the accent? Stop, like he has never, his personalities have never come out, I guess, in the relationship before, is my understanding. But yeah, it's like, I think she started kind of falling for Steven.
Okay.
Because Steven is so sweet and nice.
Yeah.
He listens, he understands.
Yeah.
Mark's like a typical American, Moving on to Ethan Hawke. He's a nice villain. I liked him as a villain. Yeah. They sure did dispose of him very quickly there at the end.
Yeah, they did.
Because I think he's straight up dead. I think he's dead. I don't think he's
coming back.
I
don't think the Duat can save him.
Yeah. I think he's going to, what's the underworld in Egyptian mythology? What's it called? Or does it not have a name? Or is it just the Duat in general? Maybe, but that's it. He'll just be forever a Duat. The Duat in limbo. Because that's a worse fate. If you're just in limbo, that's supposed to be a worse fate than either going up or down. Yeah. I did like him as a villain. I think he was very one-dimensional, unfortunately, though. Like, there was no nuance there, I don't think. I mean, it's not really Ethan Hawke's fault. I mean, that's just the writing. He definitely did the best with what he had, though. But yeah, I mean, he was very one-dimensional, I felt like, and he just had his one goal, his one agenda. That was it. It's like I don't think you ever saw any other sense of just something else in him. Like if he had any regret, if he had any sympathy, just nothing. He was always like, I'm doing this. My plan. I'm sticking with my plan.
What made him pure? That he did not get eaten by
the crocodile. Yeah, how
just because he possessed the power to do that. Did they ever explain how he possessed the power of...
They might have explained that at some point, and I just don't. Because there was a lot kind of going on in those first several episodes. A lot of, like, explanation. And
that's why sometimes I have to watch things twice.
Yeah, this is the type of show. Now that we've seen the whole thing, I would definitely like to revisit it at some point and maybe pick up on things that I might have had a hard time picking up on the first time, because so much was being explained all at once. Especially when they were kind of going over all the stuff with Amit, and the kind of why Khonshu's doing what he's doing, why Amit's doing what she's doing, because they both give out punishment, They both give out punishment, but they do it in different ways. Because I liked when they had their little fight there at the end, and Khonshu's like, oh, I can't remember exactly what they say, and Amit's like, "Oh, we both do this and that, but I get rid of mine before they have the time to even cause harm." You know?
Yes, like he judges like
After the fact,
like too late.
Yeah, too late.
And
the harm's already been done.
Yeah, she takes care of it before anybody even does anything.
Mm-hmm.
She can't blame her.
Yeah,
you can't.
I really like the special effects.
They were amazing.
For the gods. For Conchu and Amit.
I felt like I could really touch the hippo.
Oh my god, the hippo.
And her ears.
Oh my god. Her little hippo ears. I love the attention.
So realistic.
Yeah, I love the absolute attention to detail, especially with the hippo goddess. Because yeah, she'd be just standing around, her hippo ears would be like
it was
twitching,
very
like
distracting though. Like she's talking about something serious and then her ears are like,
because you know when you're at a zoo and you see the hippos, their ears are constantly always twitching because there's like little flies and bugs always kind of circling around their heads, and I love that detail with the ears especially. I got a kick out of her ears. They're so cute. But yeah, they didn't look silly.
And then when Amit popped up, like, I don't know, even that looked even more amazing.
Yeah.
Just the way, like, especially how
I was very worried when the gods were popping up and stuff. I was like, oh, well, I hope this doesn't look stupid or silly, you know, because it could have easily turned very theatrical and took you out of the moment. But I think the CG and special effects really worked, you know? Like, it felt like genuine gods, you know, like, these are characters you should be frightened of, you know?
Yeah, so I'm hoping if there's a season 2, we get more. And they look even cooler.
But yeah, I love the special effects. Those are so well done.
I enjoyed the music.
Oh, yeah, the music was great, yeah. Especially like the ending credits.
Yeah, it's always the ending credits music that was really good.
Yeah. Like, everything about the show worked really nicely, you know? The way people were dressed, the music, just everything, like, really meshed together nicely. Like, nothing really ever felt out of place, I don't think. So, moving on to ranking, Stephanie, if you had to rank Moon Knight on a scale of 1 to 10 Mickey ears, what would you give it?
I don't know. Like I said, I need to start keeping the list of how I rank everything else.
Even though I still liked the show quite a bit, I still think I put some of the other Marvel things above it. For me, personally anyway, because I still really loved WandaVision and Loki and Hawkeye and Falcon Winter Soldier. It's like, I still really loved all that. I think I would still kind of put this underneath everything, but not, like, that doesn't mean a bad thing for me. I think I would maybe give this about 8? 8 Mickey ears? I don't know.
Sure. Horribly, I actually liked this more than, like, I liked Loki.
Huh?
So yeah, I don't know if it goes in an 8 or if it goes at, like, a low 9.
This made more sense than Loki. Let's put it that way.
Like, the style, like, this show, the style was more to my liking. A low 9. Or high.
In general, a fun time. I didn't know about this character going in, now I know.
I'd like a second season.
I hope we get a second season. I mean, you can't...
Might take a while, though, because somebody's Mr. Popular.
You can't just have Jake pop up at the end.
Right?
Kill your main villain.
Yeah, because then...
And then
what's
that's
going to happen after that?
Because the thing is, Mark and Steven don't even know about that guy. You know? They don't even know about him.
But then would that take away, would there no longer be any more Egyptian-related things? Or?
I don't know. I don't know.
I want them to just keep with the Egyptian thing. So I want Hippo Lady again.
Hippo Lady.
And did Layla continue to be Hippo Lady?
Yeah, as the Avatar.
Or did she...
Yeah.
Did she... Was only her for that period of time and then they were going to let her go?
Because it still seems like Khonshu's very much controlling Jake, you know? Like, he still needs Jake to serve his purposes. So it does seem like the Egyptian mythology stuff would still have to play an integral part in the story. Yeah, you can't just leave me hanging with Jake murdering Ethan Hawke. Oh my god. Because it's like, Khonshu's not done. You know, Khonshu's like, I have more. And yeah, I mean, I need to know how the love triangle's gonna go. I mean, now it's like a love cube. Could it be a love cube?
Jake don't care, probably. He's just there to murder.
I have concerns. I have questions. Okay, is that it? I feel like we're missing something. I feel like we're going to finish this video and be like, oh, we forgot to talk about this. There's a lot once we sat here and started talking about it, it's like we started realizing there's more to kind of talk about than I realized. But yeah, that's it for our thoughts and feelings on Moon Knight. Have you guys seen Moon Knight? Did you love it? Did you hate it? If you have not seen it, do you want to watch it at all? So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye, guys.